Another day, another Brandon Aiyuk story that leaves us pretty much in the same spot that we started at. We actually have multiple Aiyuk stories and reports, so excuse me real quick as I try to piece them all together here. Jerry Dulac said yesterday on his chat script for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette that the Steelers did in fact try to trade for Aiyuk. Says they would love to pursue Aiyuk and have. But that doesn't mean the 49ers want to trade him. And that's what they have wanted. They, as in the Steelers, have wanted to do, find a big-time veteran receiver to pair with George Pickens. You had NFL Network's Ian Rappaport echo that sentiment that the 49ers really aren't interested in trading Aiyuk. Said this on some show on the NFL Network just a couple days ago.
That all is not well. And obviously, Brandon Aiyuk wants a contract extension, deserves a contract extension. I do think the Devontae Smith extension today, setting the floor essentially at $25 million per year, probably helps his case a little bit. Now, as far as the trade request, I would agree with his agent. There has been no trade request. Obviously, there have been some teams, though, who know that all is not well, who know that he wants a contract extension, some receiver-needy teams who have inquired over the course of the last several months to see could he be available. To my knowledge, the 49ers have not entertained any of those talks, but until and unless an extension gets done, that is going to persist.
And then you have Pro Football Talk's Mike Florio saying on 93.7 The Fan something that basically confirms both what Dulac and Rappaport are saying on this Aiyuk situation. Says, my understanding is that the Steelers placed a phone call a few weeks ago and were told by the 49ers we're not trading the guy. And he goes on, the notion that Aiyuk had requested a trade is not accurate. The notion that the Steelers had been the most aggressive is not accurate. My understanding is there was maybe a phone call weeks ago and the response was we're not trading the guy, and that was that. Now, I fully expect interested teams to re-engage as the draft approaches, especially with that report out there. I also believe there's a chance there's been some conversation along the lines of not that he's asked for a trade, but looking for teams that might be interested in doing something. So, yeah, basically we are in the exact same spot with this Aiyuk situation as it's been over the last month or so. There's new reports and rumors that come out, but we find ourselves pretty much in the exact same spot every time when all the dust settles. But it feels like this time the 49ers are definitely less interested in trading Aiyuk than what's being led on, which may make the deal dead, but Aiyuk's the real X factor here. 49ers, yeah, that's all well and good. You may not want to trade him, but if Aiyuk doesn't agree to a contract extension, is going to be unhappy, then your hands are kind of tied. You're going to have to trade him unless you take on the opposite approach than what we're familiar with here in Pittsburgh, and you actually want hostages, not volunteers. But something tells me that the 49ers know football business and they know how to run a decent organization. And you don't want a disgruntled guy because that stuff could spread. That could be like a virus in the locker room. So I would think if Aiyuk is not going to agree to the extension and he's going to hold out, that the 49ers are going to be much more apt to trading Aiyuk. But that still remains to be seen. They say they don't want to trade him, which upholds their leverage in any potential trade talks. I get it. They're being smart about this. And they might actually still want to have Aiyuk there because he's a damn good receiver. But at the same time, they can't afford everyone, man. They're not going to be able to keep Aiyuk, Deebo Samuel, McCaffrey, Kittle, pay Brock Purdy, and then have all those studs that they have on defense. You're not going to be able to keep everyone. So there's going to be some type of trade-off here. And if that time is right now with Brandon Aiyuk, we'll find out. They say no, but Aiyuk is hinting at otherwise through Instagram and his actions there. So we'll see, man. Again, we're in the same spot here. Steelers interested in trading for a receiver like Aiyuk. Yeah. Niners don't want to trade Aiyuk. Aiyuk unhappy with the situation. And it's just all murky right now. Who knows what happens? The catalyst is Aiyuk in all this. If he agrees to a contract extension with the Niners and wants to be there, then there is no trade. But if he wants to continue to play hardball, then it becomes more and more likely a trade could be on the table. And we're getting damn close to the draft. And when you get close to the draft, some wheeling and dealing could happen. Same spot. I'm sorry if I wasted your time with this information, but I thought it was only right to give you guys some updates. But how about this for an update? Transitioning to this next topic, but also sticking with the wide receiver position. Russell Wilson's former receiver, Pro Bowl receiver, Cortland Sutton, did not report Monday for voluntary OTAs with the Denver Broncos. Tom Pelissero reports that, again, did not report Monday voluntary workouts as he seeks a new contract, per source. Sutton is going on his 10th starting quarterback in 7 seasons and has only $2 million guaranteed left on his deal. He has 10 touchdowns in 2023 while ranking 56th in targets. Broncos insider Benjamin Albright also tweeted out that last year when I reported that this staff wasn't as high on Judy and Sutton and was looking to move them, was met with pushback everywhere. Then they tried to move Sutton with the Ravens before the season and did move Judy after the season for peanuts. Will Sutton be a Bronco this season? I've already mentioned Cortland Sutton in the list of names that the Steelers could be looking for if they want to do a receiver trade before the draft. And it's the one that probably makes the most sense when it comes down to everything involved. Because, yes, on the surface, in a vacuum, do you want Brandon Aiyuk? Do you want T. Higgins? Yes, those dudes are the cream of the crop for receivers that may be available via trade. And even the dudes that are available via free agency. But what does it take to get those dudes? A lot more than what it takes to get a guy like Cortland Sutton, or also even sign a guy with free agency. Because through free agency, you don't got to give anything up. You don't, with any of these names that are available, have to sign them to a massive contract. You also get what you pay for. So there's both sides of the coin, as with pretty much everything. But in Cortland Sutton, I think you're getting the best of both worlds. I think Cortland Sutton, if he were on the open market right now, would be the most highly touted receiver available. Compared to Aiyuk and Higgins, yeah, maybe a drop below. In terms of proven productivity, it's not like that much of a drop below, though, because Cortland Sutton is a former Pro Bowler. Last year, he had 10 touchdowns. Could he have had more receiving yards? Yeah, sure, but almost 800 yards is nothing to sneeze at. On being 56th in total targets, too. Like, he made, it seems like, the most of what was being distributed to him. 56th in targets and had 10 total touchdowns in 2023. Not bad. Not half bad at all. So, like, what it would take to get Sutton versus what it would take to get Aiyuk and Higgins, better value. I don't think it's that much of a drop-off. The difference between Aiyuk and Higgins and Sutton right now is, the main difference, I would say, is Sutton is on the back half of his career, or is at least starting on the back half of his career. He's 28. He already got his big deal that Higgins and Aiyuk are seeking right now. Yeah, is Aiyuk coming off of his 2023 season better than what Sutton has done at any point in his career? Yeah, sure. But again, is Sutton good? Yeah, he's a damn good receiver. So with an Aiyuk or a Higgins, you're having a luxury there, in a way, if you're able to bring them in. You're having a luxury by having an Aiyuk and a Pickens. Most rosters aren't constructed that way, because Pickens should be our number one. Trading for an Aiyuk or Higgins, they're number ones as well. Cortland Sutton, he's almost like a Deontay. He's like a 1B type of situation. Could he be a team's number one? Are you feeling great about it? Probably not. But could be a high end 2. Could be a damn good 2. And for what it would cost to get Sutton versus what it would cost to get Aiyuk and Higgins, that might be the smartest approach. it's nothing to sneeze at. Yeah, is it a little bit of a drop down with where Sutton is at this point in his career right now versus an Aiyuk or a Higgins? Yeah, it would be a little bit, but I don't know by that much. That's where I think the value is, because I think you would be giving up a lot less than what you'd be giving up to get an Aiyuk or Higgins, and what it would be costing you contract-wise, because Sutton is still looking for a new contract. But my hunch is the contract he's seeking, sure, he probably wants to get the most money he can possible for himself. I don't think it's going to be much more than what he's getting right now. He's getting $15 million per year. The cap hit for this year on his contract, and then in 2025 is $17 million. I think that's reasonable. I think, if you give him a multi-year deal, he would maybe even take something less than that. That would be the trade-off for additional security, extra years on a contract. Because right now he's at only $2 million guaranteed. If we can give him something for maybe 2 or 3 years, more guaranteed, but the cap hit is around the same range or less. For the Steelers, you would like it to be less. 17 does seem a little bit steep for Cortland Sutton right now. But he's right in that range of other receivers that are getting paid that amount. Like, it's about right. I think he's right at where he should be getting paid. Allen Lazard is getting around, I think it was 12 or 13 last time I looked. That's an overpay. Gabriel Davis just got $13 million. Sutton's more proven than a Gabriel Davis. Gabriel Davis is younger, though. Like, that's where Cortland Sutton's at right now. That's the knock against him. He's 28, which is crazy to say. That's not that old. You're still kind of in your prime, but you're starting on your back half. He's got the connection with Russ, and he's just a damn good receiver, man. Damn good receiver. You saw Jerry Jeudy went for, what was it? 5th or 6th round pick? If Jeudy went for that, I can only imagine Cortland Sutton would go for something similar. 4th round pick, 5th round pick, 6th round pick, something like that. You got to rework his deal a little bit. I'm all for it. Or maybe he would just be open to a change of scenery. Maybe he's talking to the Broncos like, it's either I get the contract extension or trade me. Get me somewhere else where I could play out the rest of this contract and maybe hit free agency again in the next year or two. Because with the $2 million guaranteed, he's basically on like a 1-year deal. Because you could cut him next year as a cap casualty. Maybe he just wants a fresh start, a new place where he feels like he could get some better production. Because Broncos kind of in rebuilding mode right now. Seems like he's disgruntled. I think this would be a really good. It would be an underrated move for the Steelers. The splash move is Aiyuk, Higgins. But this would be very underrated. I think it would be a very wise move to make, too. And I don't think this holds you back from drafting a receiver either. This puts you in a better spot come draft time as well. Like, you can still draft a receiver early if you want. You can have a Pickens, a Sutton, whatever second-round receiver you draft. You got a pretty damn good receiver room then, in addition to Calvin Austin, all these other speedy guys that we just signed this offseason. Yeah, you have a security blanket just in case you can't grab a receiver early. A Pickens, Sutton, Calvin Austin, Quez Watkins receiver room, that's not terrible. That's not terrible at all. I think that's top half of the league, in fact. Let me know what you guys think. Sorry if you guys didn't want to hear more receiver talk, but it's kind of what's going on right now. I think it's more time sensitive than some of the other things that I wanted to talk about, like quarterbacks, Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, and also even doing my mock draft. We'll get to that later. Stay tuned. Those videos will be dropping within the next day or two. But that's it for today's episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. Stay chilling, and peace.